guys, wonderful world of YouTube. So I had a request earlier this week to do a video about building chords, specifically how to build chords on the Guitarra de Golpe, how to build chords in general for like intermediate to advanced players who maybe don't really know how to build chords on guitar or vihuela or anything like that. There aren't really a whole lot of useful chord charts that I've ever been able to find online. You can Google golpe chords or whatever. You'll find some stuff out there on how to, where to put your fingers and which fingers go where. Learning how to build a chord on a guitar, a mandolin, an electric guitar, a golpe, any stringed instrument that plays melodic content. What a chord is, how to build it, especially if you play mariachi music, you should be able to build chords, okay? When you see those pop chord symbols written out on paper, you know, D minor 7/5 6 9 add 13 hijo de la chingada, those tend to freak people out, okay? And I understand why. It's a lot of theory that you maybe don't know, maybe haven't been exposed to. All you need to really know is how are the strings tuned openly. You know, open means you're not putting your fingers anywhere. And when you see a chord, how to build it. We're going to use our good friend the whiteboard here to try to just draw some stuff out, give you guys some ideas. A couple of things you guys need to know before we get started on this, right? There's some prerequisites to chord building, unfortunately. You need to know your lines and spaces, so the sequence of notes on a music staff or the treble clef, because the golpe is played in treble clef. You also need to know your sharps and your flats, your key signatures, okay? You need to be able to know that if you see 3 sharps, that's A major or F sharp minor. Those are really important to know. If you don't know those things, don't sweat it. I included some links in the description down below. Some pretty useful stuff, some basic elementary music theory. Take a look at the links below if you don't know those basic music theory things. Pause the video, then come back, alright? And we'll talk some more about it. Now that we know all of our notes, all of our scales, our sharps, flats, all that kind of stuff, I'm not going to go into that because it would take forever. Other people do it better than I can. So, what is a chord? Right? We want to know what exactly is a chord. Well, by any formal definition, a chord, right, is really 3 or more notes. 3 or more notes. It's usually 3, at least 3, can be as much as 5, 6. When you're playing a golpe, you only have 5 fingers, right? So you can only conceivably play at most 5 notes in a chord, but you need at least 3. Hey, that's a nice treble clef. I don't usually draw them that nice. Alright, so we know that this is G, right? And we know that this is E. I can't draw straight lines, so I'm not even going to try. Well, depending on what the key signature is, will depend on what the chord is. We're going to do something very basic. No sharps, no flats, C major. So you guys know your lines and spaces, so you know that that's C, that's an E, and I don't want to draw it up here, so we'll just draw it down here. I'll go ahead and spell it out. So we have C, we have E, and we have G. That's a chord. Those are 3 notes. That's what they look like. A chord is usually stacked on top of itself. And it has a major third and then a minor third. It's not a real big deal. If you know what that means, great. It's just basically the interval between the notes. So we have our basic chord. This is a basic C chord. So I'm going to show you how you would build it on a golpe, right? So we know that we'll just pretend that's the golpe right there, right? Right? I can't draw straight lines, so just pretend these are straight lines. Now we have frets. The frets are basically the note values starting from the open string. We know the tuning of the golpe that we use, depending on what tuning you use. The one that I use is G, so G, C, E, A, and D. Open strings, if you pluck one of those strings, you're going to get a G, C, E, A, D. We want a C major chord. So we have G. Is G in C major? What are the 3 notes in C major? You have C, you have E, and you have G, right? Those are your basic notes. So let's look at the instrument. We have an open G string, right? So there's a G. So we don't have to play anything here. This plays open. There's a C. Well, obviously C is in C, so we just keep that open. Hey, look at, we're still in luck. There's an E. E stays open. Now we get this A and this D. Those are not in C major. What do we have to press, right, with our left hand to make these strings fit into C major? So let's look at A first. Then we go to the first fret. You know that that's B flat, A, because B comes after A. Then you have B natural. The frets, I should say, are all half steps. These are all half steps. Each fret represents 1 half step. So if you have a half step above A is B flat, a half step above B flat is B natural. That should be easy. If you don't know it, pause, go look at it again. So we have B flat, B natural, and C. Oh, okay, so there's a C here. So we're going to play with our, I use my pinky. So good, we have that. So G, C, E, and then we have a C. Now we have this D here. Well, D is not in there. You have D, you have E flat, right? And then you have E. E is in the chord. So I use my, I usually use my, my middle finger. That gives you E, right? So that's the entire chord right there. So you see, it's just really an exercise of, do I know my open strings? Do I know my frets? Do I know my notes, my sequence of scales, all that stuff? That's how you build a chord. All right, let's do another one. Let's do A. So what is in an A major chord? There are 3 notes, right? So you have A, C sharp, and E natural. Why do we know this? Because we know what makes up the chord, we know our scales, we know our key signatures, we know all that stuff, right? These are just basic triads, right? You have a major third there, a minor third there, okay? It's just triads. That's all it is. 3 or more notes. G is not an A. So we go G, G sharp. No, we don't have G sharp. So we go to the next fret. That's an A. Okay, so A. We'll put a finger there. C. Well, C natural is here. So we'll go to the next fret. Half step, C sharp. Okay, so there's my C sharp. E is open. That's in the key. So we'll leave that open. Then you go to A. Is obviously you're going to leave A open. Now you have D, right? The D string. You have D, then you have E flat, and then you have E. So you're going to play that. So you have your chord. A, C sharp, E, A, E. So you see, it is really simple once you know your scales, once you know your sharps, flats, and once you know what a chord is, you can build every single chord. Alright, so numbers. Every now and again, you're going to come across music, if you play mariachi music, where you see a letter, major, minor, and you're undoubtedly going to see a number. Most commonly, you see numbers like D7, E7, B7. You know, those are the most common or dominant 7th chords. And then you're going to come across some weird shit like suspended 4, 13, flat 5, add 9, /6. It gets really weird. Alright, so when you start seeing numbers, right? You start seeing stuff like A7. Hell is A7. I had numbers, I had letters, now where are all the numbers coming from, right? I think that's the biggest challenge for people is they're used to one or the other. Here's what you do. You just need to know how to count from 1 to 8. That's as simple as it is. So if you're in A major, right? Let's draw our good old friend Mr. Treble Clef again. You got 3 sharps, because we know that we're in A major. Now the A, that's 1. B natural is 2. C sharp is 3. D natural is 4. E natural is 5. F sharp is 6. And then your G sharp is 7. What comes after G in the scale? Your A, which is 8. So you have A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, back to A. It's a circle. If you play mariachi music, you've heard things like círculo, the circle. That's really what it is. It starts here, right? And it goes all the way up, and it comes back. So it's just a repeating pattern, whatever key you're in. This is where the numbers come from. So if they're saying that we want you to play an A7, that means, in addition to your basic notes, A, C sharp, and E, they want you to play a 7th. What is the 7th note? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you want me to also add a G sharp. Pretty simple, no? Alright, let's see how we do it on the golpe. So we have our golpe back, right? And we know the tuning. We know that it's G, C, E, A, D. We're trying to build an A7 chord. Well, we had already built an A chord, right? So that was here, and, right? So G, A, C, C sharp here. Those are open, fine. And then D, sharp, E. There it is. We have that. Now we're being told to add a G sharp. Where are we going to find the G sharp? Well, we know that there was one right here, right? That's a potential candidate. We know that there's a G sharp living right there. We know that there's the G sharp there. We know that there's a finger here. So really all you have to do to play a 7 is just take this away and play the open G. Because you'll have G, C sharp, E, A, and D. So it becomes that chord when you're playing a 7th. So now you're playing all the notes. You see kind of how this becomes very easy to kind of just get your hands on once you know what all this stuff means. Alright, we'll do one more chord. We're starting to get the hang of this a little bit. Let's do something not too hard, not too boring. Let's try F major 7. What is in F? We have F, we have an, what is it, F, G, A, triad. You basically skip every note so you can make a triad. F, A, C. Now it's asking for a 7, right? A major 7. It wants a whole 7 interval space, right? No half spaces. So what's the 7th of F? Well, that would be E. So we know that we have this interval, we have that interval, and then we have this interval. Where are the notes? So we have F natural, A natural, C natural, and E natural. Those are the basic building blocks for an F major 7 chord. We have a G. Well, G's not in this. So next, G sharp. No. A. Okay, well, A's in there. We got an A. C sharp. No, no C sharp. Oh, C natural, right? So don't get confused when you do this. It's easy to get confused. We keep that string open. Now we have an E. Right? Oh, there's an E. So, hey, just leave that open. We have an A. We leave that open again. Now, D is not in here. So what are we going to do? We have a D here, right? So there's D. There's E flat, E natural, and then we have our F. So F is right here. So we just built an F major 7 chord. So when you take your golpe, you're going to have, right? There. Open. And then you put your pinky. There's your F major 7 chord. There's your F7 chord. This is how you build any chord, and I don't care what it is. Alright, well that's about it for chord building. Real basic introductory video about building chords. If you guys want me to make more about the Guitarra de Golpe, you know, you can ask me questions. You can just put the pop chord symbol in there and say, hey, what are the notes for D flat 7 some shit. All you're doing when you're building a chord, you're just trying to figure out where you put your fingers. So this was just really a brief introductory tutorial. This isn't every chord on the Guitarra de Golpe. Like I said, that would take forever. But that's the basic idea. When you're building chords, you have at least 3 notes. The numbering, the scale, the key signature, the sequence that the notes go up and down. Get familiar with all that stuff. I know there's a lot of guys and a lot of girls out there who never learned this in high school and who play a lot of guitar and a lot of other instruments. If you already play instruments and you're not that adept at music theory and chord building, you know, refer to this video a couple times. It will eventually click when you start writing it out and say, oh, so in this A chord, there's only 3 notes and I have 5 strings, so there it is. You know, you shouldn't feel bad. You know, no one should feel ashamed about just not knowing certain things. If you play mariachi music and you spent most of your time as a student just memorizing chords and having someone show you, put your finger here and that goes there, that's perfectly fine. If you're watching this video and it's starting to give you more ideas about how music is actually structured, I can do a little bit more of that. You know, we can do stuff in keys, and you can go online and seriously, every chord on YouTube, it's already on YouTube. I don't have to do it for you. Just search chord building YouTube. You're gonna find 10,000 videos, and this is gonna be like this in the sea. I want to say really thank you for watching. If you guys are watching this, share it, like it, dislike it, talk shit. I don't care. You know, it's fun. It's relaxing. It's something that I can do with my spare time. It's all good. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.